Are you crunching the carrots?
Hello everyone, fall is here and we are back with Budget Bites. My trusty helper is home from school with a runny nose. Are you feeling okay though? Yeah. So we thought with the fall weather we would put together some nice fall comfort food. So smiling here like I'm excited about fall. Are you excited about fall? You are? I'm not really. I'm a summer person. What do you like about fall?
I call the beautiful of the leaves.
You like the beautiful leaves. They are rather beautiful, that's true. Yeah.
What do you like about fall?
My favorite thing about fall are fall foods. What are we making, buddy? Butternut squash harvest soup.
Butternut squash harvest soup.
Very good, yeah. So you're gonna need a couple different things. Nate's eating all of our ingredients here. We're gonna need carrots. You're gonna need about 1 cup of diced carrots. You are going to need 1 medium to large potato. Any kind you have will work. We are going to need 2 large leeks. We are going to need some butternut squash. My first budget tip for you. Check out these frozen butternut squash. Not only are they a great buy, nutritionally just as good for you as buying them fresh, but also all the work is done for you here already. We don't even have to peel or dice these. We can just take them right out of the bag and throw them right in the pot. Cool, huh? So definitely don't fear the frozen veggies. They are an awesome resource. We're gonna need some broth, ideally buying the lower sodium or at least the reduced sodium broth. Gonna need some nutmeg as our seasoning, a little bit of cream, whatever you have in your fridge will work. When we get to adding the cream, I'll talk to you about some possible substitutions if you are watching your saturated fat intake. And you're going to need 1 apple.
And we have a Granny Smith apple here.
We do have a Granny Smith apple here. Those are your favorite, huh?
Yep, which the recipe calls for.
That is correct.
It's good to have the one that the recipe calls for, right?
If you can, yeah. But if you don't have those and you have a different kind of apple, don't feel like you need to go out and buy other ones. You can use what you've got, right? Which is another good budget-friendly tip. Always feel free to substitute in a recipe if you already have something sort of similar at home. Don't feel like you need to go out and buy something new. You can often get by with just using what you've got, and it saves you a little bit of money that way. Okay. Well, let's get started processing our ingredients here. So we're gonna get all these chopped up and ready to go, and then we will show you how to throw together this super simple, super nutritious, very budget-friendly fall comfort food. That's right, so you don't hurt yourself, right? For our leeks, we are only going to be using the white and the light green portions, so you don't need to worry about these. You can save these and use them for another purpose, but for today we're just going to use the softer, more mild flavored bits of the leeks.
Carrots, you can get a really big pack.
You sure can. Which actually is another good budget-friendly money-saving tip, is if you buy in bulk, although you pay more up front, if you're able to do that though, you do save money in the long run rather than buying smaller packages of things. Quick tip for the leeks. Leeks can be quite dirty. Between all of the layers, there's often little bits of like dirt and grime and things like that. A really good way to get that out is slice them all up, throw them into a strainer, and then you can actually just run them under the water and sort of work them with your fingers and all the dust and dirt will fall right out. Soup is we are going to heat some oil in a nice soup pot. I really like this heavy bottomed one that we have here, but you use any pots you have available at home. You're gonna heat a couple tablespoons of oil, and then we're gonna toss in our leeks and our onions and cook for about 5 minutes until they soften up for us. Potent onion, it's making me cry. Just smell it.
Don't worry about taking the leeks out. You can just mix them in.
Yeah, mix them right in. All right, so we're gonna do this potato next.
Yep.
If you have a potato with thick skin, you're probably gonna wanna peel it before you dice it up. This is a nice thin-skinned yellow potato. I'm just gonna leave the skin right on here. For an apple, we're gonna dice up the apple. I'm gonna leave the skin on. It will add a little bit more texture into the soup if you prefer not to have that. Again, peel up your apple if you prefer. We're gonna leave it on for a little bit of fiber.
Remember what fiber does? Helps you poop.
That's true. Fiber does help you poop. Very good, bud.
It softens it up so it gets it bites.
Yeah, that's true. You are funny. I like cooking with you. Okay, so I've got my potato diced up, my apple sliced and diced up here. I've got about a cup of carrot, maybe a little bit less. And we are going to need about 2 cups of our nice frozen diced up squash here. So I'm gonna get that ready to go. And then I'm gonna start heating up the oil in our pot at the back, and I'm gonna move the camera back there, and we will start throwing this soup together. Sound good, dude?
Yeah, and
All right, so we've got our oil heating in our nice heavy bottom pot. We're just gonna let that get nice and warm, and then we are gonna add in our chopped up chives and onions. And we're gonna cook them until they start to soften up just a little bit, so about 5 minutes or so. All right, we have added our onions and leeks in, and as you can see, there is quite a bit in here. My pot is about half full. These are going to cook down quite a bit, so they're gonna decrease in volume. So don't worry if when you add them in, it looks like this. That is exactly what it's supposed to look like. All right, so this has been cooking for about 5 minutes now, and you can see my leeks and onions have shrunk down quite a bit. They're about 50% less voluminous than they were when we started. So now we are ready to add our potato, our squash, our carrots, our apple, and our broth. We're adding 4 1/4 cups of whatever broth you're using into the pot, and we are going to bring that up to a boil. All right, once your ingredients are in, you can just turn your heat up to high. We're gonna bring this up to a boil, then reduce the heat to low to simmer for about 20 minutes or so until all your veggies are nice and softened. One of the best things about this soup, and one of the things that makes it a really good budget-friendly choice, is that we're using a lot of seasonal ingredients here. So we're buying these ingredients when they're in season in Ontario, which means that we're not having to pay to have our ingredients shipped to us from far and away. It's coming from our own backyard, and that's how you can get things for the best possible price of the year. So things like apples and squash are great buys this time of year. Alrighty, so our soup, it has been simmering for 20 minutes. Our veggies are nice and soft. Now what we are going to do is puree this till it's nice and smooth and creamy. You can do this using a hand blender, which is what we are going to use here today, or you can let it cool and do it in your blender or food processor. Do always read the manufacturer directions for blending hot liquids. Some blenders can manage it, other ones strictly forbid it because the steam can actually build up inside and you will end up with a soup bomb in your kitchen. So carefully puree in your chosen method, and then we are going to add our last few ingredients, and this one will be ready to go. So here is our soup, all nice and pureed and smooth. You could stop here and just have this be your finished product. This is kind of your chance to start personalizing your soup. So we are going to add a little bit of cream, about half a cup or so in here. If you are watching your cholesterol and you don't want to be adding a lot of saturated fat with the cream, other options are to add a can of evaporated milk. It will give it a nice body as well without the saturated fat. You could completely skip adding cream and just leave it just like this, and that would work as well. So take your pick as to whether or not you want to add a little bit more creamy body to your soup, or if you prefer it just with the vegetable puree. And then we're also going to add our seasoning. So the base recipe is to add a pinch of nutmeg along with salt and pepper to taste. But feel free to add other seasonings as you see fit. So we really like cinnamon, so I'm probably going to put a couple pinches of cinnamon in here. A little bit of brown sugar would be lovely in here, or even if you prefer a tangier soup, a little bit of apple cider vinegar would likely be good in here too. So taste it, feel free to personalize it to your liking and add the seasonings and flavors that you and your family enjoy. Enjoy this one as much as we do. We had a lot of fun making it for you, and as usual, if you have any suggestions for us to cook on here, please do let us know. We will do our best to get all of your suggestions in. Stay tuned for next month for Budget Bites. I will be doing my annual Pumpkin Palooza. We're going to be doing some fun pumpkin themed recipes, so stay tuned for that, and I will see you then, and enjoy. Want to say bye?
Bye.
Toodles!